Hi everybody and welcome to Astroscopes. Tonight we're doing something a little bit different. We were talking about pendulums and the use of pendulums last night on the Warrior Chronicles, and I decided, because that's what happens to me when I sit in front of the camera, I get curveballs chucked at me, that I would jump on tonight and obviously do a little bit about pendulums and how to get your pendulum to work best for you. Pendulums can be a little bit tricky, okay, and that's purely because we don't ask the right questions in the right manner. We can confuse our pendulums and they will tell us all sorts of crazy stuff. So they will, hello, thank you for joining. They will tell us yes answers that should be no answers that should be yes. They will tell us yes and no or maybe answers. And really it can be quite difficult to be able to ascertain exactly what that answer is and how that answer actually is formulated if we're not asking the right questions. So I thought I'd break out the pendulum tonight and just take you through them and give you a little bit of background on how I do it, okay? So I don't believe there's a hard and fast rule about type of pendulum, shape of pendulum, type of crystal that you use. If you're trying to get answers to relationship questions, should you use a rose quartz, for example, or if you're trying to tune into your higher self or open up your third eye, should you be using a lapis lazuli, all that sort of stuff. I don't believe there's a hard and fast rule. Just had to jump a card, sorry about that. And the reason why that is because I think it's whatever feels right for you. I mean, for years and years, people use wedding bands and on a piece of string, or like not even a fancy pendulum. So hi everyone, thank you for being here. So so really you can use pretty much anything you like, and it's really up to you and what resonates well with you and what it looks like for you. Astroscopes, I'll just let you in a little secret. This will be my last Astroscopes on a Friday night. I can hear you all cry. No, not really. But I'm going to move it across to the Warrior Chronicles and just have the one show on the Spiritual Events Directory. That will be Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Purely because I want to be able to do lots of different things, okay? And sometimes the Friday night can be, it'll add value to the Thursday night, or it can be very similar, especially if spirit feels like they haven't really got their message across. It can be a bit of a double up sometimes. So I thought, okay, well, let's combine the two and maximize our time together on the Thursday night. And we'll just do a whole bunch of different things and find out what's going on. And there we go again. They're already starting. It's a very interesting looking face we've got over there on the side of the screen. Wonder where you came from, you cheeky bugger. Okay. If you didn't get a chance to see the Warrior Chronicles last night, do go and have a look. Look in particular at the giant face that is right next to me on the green side of the screen. Okay, you'll see a giant face there. It's very visible from around the 11, 12, 13 minute mark. And there's a couple of other little faces that you can actually very clearly make out, but the big one in particular is the one I want to draw your attention to. So it's actually cool that they do that and that you're able to see them, or they present themselves in a manner that you actually can ascertain that they're there, because then that way you don't think I'm crazy when I say, here they go again, here they go again, here they go again, because I can see them and feel them and I know that they're here. So when they start presenting in the ways that they did last night, and you can clearly see them in the background, you can see the apparitions and the faces and everything that's going on. It makes it very cool. So do pop over and have a look at that. It's on Insight by Johnita, and it's also on the Spiritual Events, and you can watch the replays at any given time. So it's really interesting. I pulled out a couple of different cards from the Zodiac sign cards, which is my Zodiac deck. And it's all about finding balance at the moment and finding freedom in the balance of what is going on. So taking some time out to go and walk in nature, get your feet grounded and bedded in nature, and just having a time to relax a little bit more, okay? And then once you do that, that'll open up your mind to be able to create and bring in some really cool thoughts and a freer way of thinking about things, okay? And then when you work that out, you start to fight a little bit in that relationship of being grounded and being off with the pixies, and you bring that balance together, and that will happen really, really nicely. It also has got some huge potential for you to have a big learning curve out of this as well. So very cool. Very, very cool astro energy in society at the moment. Of course, you've got all your moons coming up as well. And if you haven't had an opportunity to read astroscopes and moonscopes in the Rebirth magazine, you can look at it online, or you can grab a copy. Talk to Sarah about where she dropped them off, and she'll be able to give you a hand with that. Okay. We've got someone from the United States. Thank you. Thank you very much. Woohoo, pendulums. Haha, yes. Hi to everybody. We've got a few new faces. Thank you for coming along. Okay, and we've got some New Zealand people as well. Okay, let's get straight into pendulums, guys. So when I've actually just realized that my husband owns most of the pendulums in this house, which is just nuts. When he and I first met, I had my trusty lapis lazuli pendulum, which is a very, very pretty pendulum. Hold still. And it's just, typical pendulum shape, made out of lapis lazuli. This is going to be one of very few that actually know what the hell it is, okay? And she was mine. And I say she because I actually have feminine and masculine energies. Sometimes this is our butch one, okay? Because she had very strong opinions on things, and she can very forcefully say yes or no. And she was mine for a very long time. And then she met my husband and she ditched me for him. So that was very nice of her to do that. But what she did in that process was she created an opportunity for my husband to buy me this one, which is my smoky quartz. And we've got spirit here again, guys. And I actually really love smoky quartz. It's one of my favorite crystals. So to get it into pendulum, it just totally floats my boat. There's a massive line through there. I picked it up just before. There it is. Big, almost like a crack all the way through it. I love blemishes in crystals. I absolutely love them. When we first got this one, I was sitting on the side of the bed, and we're talking about my grandfather who has passed away. And when we were talking about him, we both, Terry and I both, my husband, if you didn't catch his name before, we both saw this pendulum fly straight into, the orb, a little tiny orb fly straight into the pendulum. And it was just such a cool moment. And she'd been mine forever and ever and ever now. And I don't think, you get a little bit of the color in there. See that? And yeah, I love her. So she was the payback for my lapis lazuli going off to live with my husband. We've got a couple of other female ones here. This is a female. She likes doing things like babies. Women's health issues is a big thing for this one in particular. Look, she's starting to move already. Yeah, I don't know. You just get, when you pick them up and you start feeling them and touching them, you sort of get, oh, okay, this is what this is going to be used for. You just get that gut feeling about which pendulum's going to do what. I don't take my pendulums. I take my smoky with me wherever I go. She's always with me. But I don't generally take a pendulum with me for that sort of stuff because I'm pretty lucky I get to tune into spirit and they will tell me what to do. Then we've got this one here. This is a boy. And he's actually really quite a lovely feel. He's got a really nice, he's very calming, sort of protector. He's really good with children's issues. Like we've got ADHD kids. You can stop. Thank you. So he's got ADHD. Kids or kids with mental health, that sort of thing. As I mentioned kids, yes, he's going, stop. I need you to stop. He's not going to stop. He wants to talk. Well, we'll play with him later, perhaps. And then we've also got this one, which I think is jade. Okay, now this is totally 100% my husband's pendulum. This pendulum won't even move for me. It hates my guts. It doesn't like me touching it. Doesn't like me handling it. I love how it's all wonky and off to the side. I think it's so cute. But it does, yeah, it just is not mine. 100% belongs to my husband. I think it's jade. Look, and if Jess Ainsworth is watching, or anybody that knows their stuff, they might be able to tell me exactly what that is. I'm pretty sure it's jade. And jade likes to stay with the one handler. So jade will actually change color with handlers. So I'm assuming that's why this pendulum doesn't want me to touch it, which is fine. It generally, yeah, it just, I put it down and it rolled away for me. All the others sort of stayed close by, which is very interesting. And this one here, don't have a lot to play with on this one at all. But general purpose, likes to just get out and have a little play. Bit more, I think the key word is playful with this one. It's not for the serious questions, just a bit more for should I, shouldn't I, that sort of stuff. Okay, so holidays are good for this. None of the big questions, none of the career changes, should I get married, what's going to happen if this happens, that sort of stuff. Okay, that's probably playing with fire asking that one. It's just a bit cheeky. It likes to play a bit more. And then, of course, we've got this last little one, which is clear quartz. I'm actually surprised I remembered some of these. And it just likes to pretty much do its own thing. I don't have a lot to do with this one. It was an impulse buy. And I just like it. I don't know why I like it. It actually looks like it's dirty in the crystal itself. It looks like there's little bits of dirt and it just hasn't been well looked after. There's other little crystals in here which just are so not even clear. You can't even tell what they are. It could even be, will you guys knock it off, please? And you can't even see what it is. It could be amethyst, could just be little bits of, you know, acrylic or something. It's just weird, but I had to have this. It was just sitting there and I'm like, oh, you're coming home with me. Sits more on my altar and doesn't really get out and do anything, and I still to this day don't know why. I've got it and I've had it for a while, but it's just one of those little things that you just do. So maybe I'm not ready to use this one yet. Maybe I'm not at that level, or this one in particular, I just haven't worked out what its use is yet. So I haven't even meditated with this. I literally bought it home, stuck it on my shelf, on my altar, and it just stayed there. So I'm not sure, but I'm not parting with it. If someone said I had to part with a pendulum, I would probably never talk to that person ever again, because I just don't do that. I did give a lady one out of my private collection a little while ago because she really needed it, and it was supercharged, and she's worked really well with it ever since. So yeah, pretty proud of that. Now, pendulums, masculine and feminine, based on how you feel. Okay, so it's not associated with all the way through the astrology scope. For example, the zodiac, you've got positive and negatives, or feminine and masculine signs. Okay, it's not associated with that. It's actually what you feel when you pick it up. Okay, so I might have a lapis lazuli that is a female. You might pick up yours and it's just a boy. Okay, no different from having a Caucasian female and a Caucasian male. It's the energy that's inside of that and how it resonates with the frequency that you've got, and how it resonates with the information that you're going to be able to gather from it. Okay, whether you're having a more masculine logical approach or a feminine spiritual approach. Okay, so that's how they work there. Whenever I touch my pendulums, I always ask them to show me a yes answer, and then I ask them to show me a no answer. I also get them to stop in between. So I actually literally say stop and make them come to a dead stop, and then I ask the next question. If it's moving or vibrating and it's not giving me a definitive yes or a no, I know that I've fucked up my question and I have to go back and rethink about this. And if question asking comes after a long time, I still get questions wrong sometimes. I go, why are you answering me? Oh, I've given you a yes or a no. I haven't said, is this the case or is that the case? And that's what you need to do when you're asking a pendulum a question. You know, am I going to change my career? Your pendulum would probably say yes. But what I don't know is when, to what. Am I changing my career from a hairdresser to a police officer? None of that is known, okay? So it can create some automatic thought patterns from yourself as far as, oh yeah, I really want to be a police officer, and my pendulum just said, yes, I'm changing career. I might be changing career, but police officer might be the worst career for me. It's just one of those things that I think is an attractive job. So being able to ask the right questions in the right way is very, very important. Using a pendulum, I don't believe it is spirit manipulating the movement of it. I believe it is totally 100% into your higher self. So you have the ability to be able to alter that answer, okay, at will. So, for example, if I say, should I buy a third dog? And inside my brain at that precise moment, I'm saying yes, 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 yes. The pendulum will give you a yes answer because your higher self is taking its cues from you. Your conscious is working on a yes, yes, yes. My subconscious knows I love dogs. So far, I've got both of them ganging up on me. The pendulum will respond to what you're saying. The trick to asking a question, should I buy a third dog? And then shut the mind chatter up. Don't think about yes or no. Let that answer come freely through the higher self and into the pendulum, and let it show you what that means. So each time I go and touch a pendulum, I don't care which pendulum it is. I don't care if I've just used it the other day. I will always say, please show me a yes answer, and wait for that to completely stop. Call it stop, and then start with the next, can you please show me a no answer, and then completely stop and ask for it to stop, and then go into my questions, okay? I will also, if I'm feeling a little bit in a crisis, or if I'm particularly reading for me and I need to make sure that the pendulum and I are in practice and understanding each other, so we get that clear, definitive response that I'm looking for, not the answer I want, but the clear, definitive response, I will ask questions like, is my middle name Elizabeth? Is my favorite uncle Barry? Those sorts of things that my higher self will be aware of, based on frequency, based on emotion, based on truth, okay? So your higher self is attached to your subconscious, so your subconscious is attached to muscle testing. So you can't bullshit your subconscious, and your subconscious is not capable of bullshitting you. So that's why muscle testing in the emotion code is so successful. So we're doing the similar thing with the pendulum. We're basically using that as a muscle test, okay? But it's very important that we don't trick that muscle test into knowing what the answer is, or flipping the outcome in one way or another. So pendulums can do some crazy things. I've used my lapis lazuli at the Z ward in Adelaide. Now, if you're not familiar with the Z ward, it is at the is the Fullerton, I suppose. Is it Fullerton there? On Fullerton Road, it's right near. It should be heritage listed, but I think they're trying to change it into something else. There's a mental asylum, and from the mental asylum you can look straight across Adelaide City and straight to the jail. And there's St Andrew's Walk is this little walkway in between, and it is riddled with spirit. And if you're in South Australia, or you ever visit there and you have some time, do go to St Andrew's Walk. And have a look around there, because it's really very interesting. You'd be blowing a gale and then just so not windy at all in several parts of this walkway. But Z Ward in particular is just absolutely amazing, because it's full of so much activity. And when I took the lapis lazuli there, at one point it came all the way out, and I'm like, okay, you've made your point, you're in charge. So now I want my answer. Is it this? So, but they can do some really cool things. So I know that in that case, it was a gentleman who was rather violent, and he had a reputation for scratching people. And if you jump on YouTube, you'll see they call him Mr. Scratchy. Okay, so Unusual name, isn't it? We didn't see that coming. But Mr. Scratchy actually had got a big reputation for doing crazy things. And of course, I've got my gatekeeper around me and my protection up. So he couldn't get to me, but he can certainly manipulate the frequency and the movement to hold my pendulum out there. So it still wasn't my higher self or an entity controlling the outcome, but he did grab hold of it and hold it out to the side. So really cool stuff happens with pendulums if you're open and don't shit your pants, basically. If you don't shit your pants, really cool stuff happens. But if you do shit your pants, then they tend to back off a little bit sometimes too. So that's something for you to consider. But I have written an article on pendulums. If you'd like a copy of it, please do sing out. More than happy to give that to you for free, of course. But I would highly recommend that you grab a pendulum of your own if you don't already have one. You can choose anything that you like. I think when you first start getting into pendulums, it's a really good idea to go to a crystal store in the flesh and actually choose one out intuitively, see which one you like the feel of. They do not need to be balanced, as I showed you. Some are off to the side, some are beautifully balanced, some are just not at all. I tend to go for the ones that look a little bit odd, probably because I'm a little bit odd, and we suit each other. But there's no right or wrong way to do it. I possibly, unless you're online shopping and you see something that totally stands out to you, I wouldn't recommend that you buy something online for your first pendulum. I really think that the connection there needs to be there. I'm not saying it doesn't work, because I bought heaps of stuff offline, especially through Jess. But I think with the pendulum, your first one in particular, I think is something that you really need to touch and feel and see how your body responds to that, and see what the pendulum does as well. See if you turn it around because it's not facing the right way, like a bit like when you put a ring on, when you first find a ring, if you turn it around and think, oh no, that's the wrong way, and put it on, generally that means that it's your piece of jewelry. So you already know which way it should be worn. Pendulums are very, very similar to that. So have a bit of fun with them. I always like to stir up my smoky quartz, and I will put her through her paces every now and then. I do take her to fairs. So if you see me at a fair, even though I'm shrinking down my fairs, but if you see me on the roadshow or psychic parties or platforming nights and things like that, ask to have a look. I will not let you touch her. Please don't be offended because it's got my germs on it. But I also don't let people choose their own cards when I do card readings for them either. So very much my energy that goes into it. But I will more than happy show you what the pendulum feels like and what it looks like. And, you can have a little ask the questions yourself and I will hold it and get your responses from there. So, yeah, but I love her. She goes everywhere with me. I don't keep her in my bra, unlike I keep my other crystals in my bra, the smaller ones, of course. But she's always with me. I never let her go. So, so that's about it from pendulums. So make sure you ask clear, definitive responses. Is it this? And then wait for the response, okay? Sometimes it's a little bit harder. You need to be able to trust the response that's coming through. So sometimes it takes a little bit for that response to come through purely for that reason. So wait a little minute. It gets really, I have noticed personally, and I'm happy for other people to talk about their stories and their experiences, but I've noticed that if I go to the cards and I say, okay, I want to know about, will I join the police force? And the cards say there's a career change, there's a chariot, there's movement, there's the cups card, there's new beginnings card. All that kind of leads towards me knowing that something new is coming up. There's a success for me somewhere. There's a movement and a change of scenery. And then I go to my pendulum and I say the same question. And then I try to go back to my pendulum and ask in a different way. It's kind of like saying to spirit, I want to make sure you're not bullshitting me. And the pendulums, I have noticed, will get stroppy with that behavior from us humans. They like us to trust them the first time. especially if we're getting the hang of how to ask questions correctly and how to get those definitive answers. Okay, you don't want to maybe answer, and if it does indicate yes and then go straight into, guys, be quiet please. If it does indicate yes and then go straight into no, or the other way around, then it's you have to reform your question, rephrase it and ask again, or go off and have a cup of tea, put your pendulum in your pocket or somewhere on your person, go off and have a cup of tea, drink of water or something, and then come back and ask the same question again, or a different way, formulated a different way if required. But there are lots of different tricks to asking the right question. If you've got a pendulum at home, or you want to try playing with the pendulum and you're not sure, I'm always available. Sing out. If you get stuck, I can help you with that. I have the article available if you want to have a look at that as well. And of course, if you're asking a question and the pendulum lies to you, or gives you, just say, for example, my pendulum said no, my middle name is not Elizabeth, I'd be like, okay, there's a disconnect here. What is it about me not seeing? What am I not seeing? What is my ego stopping me from seeing? What is the bullshit story I've got playing in my head that I can't see the truth right now? Why am I disconnected from my higher self? So I will go off, reground, recenter, think about things, calm myself down, have a cup of tea, whatever you need to do, and then come back and ask that question again. A good way to do that and to break that sort of cycle is go for a swim, have a bath, have a shower, something to do with water, and make sure the ions are going the same way. Okay, so sometimes our ions are all over the place. So ion, I-O-N-S, are all over the place, and we get a little bit out of whack. Showers, running water, bath, that sort of stuff, that will help reset and get all of our ions going in the right chi energy, the right flow energy, and that will help us recenter ourselves and ask the right questions. We'll get the right answer from our higher self. So a couple of little tricks to it. So if you've ever been bullshitted to by a pendulum before, please don't give up on them yet. They can be very handy little tools to have. I would certainly be lost without my, I was going to say lapis lazuli then, but she dumped me for a man. He's a very good looking man, but she still dumped me. But I'm very happy with my smoky quartz. So I think I'm about due for another pendulum, which is pointless really, because I'll still take my smoky and I'll still leave all the others at home. But yeah, so that is it from me to you. I'll just have a quick look through the comments and see if there's got any questions. Okay. How can you tell if it's male or female? Kim, I think I covered that, but it is by feel. Okay, you just get a sense of whether it's male or female. Okay, so the lapis lazuli one that I showed you, that's our strong female. You could even perhaps call her butch if you were very careful so you didn't offend anybody. But that's a really strong feminine energy, but she's so strong that she works in the masculine, so a warrior. It's just one of those don't mess with me sort of feelings that I get from her, really tough and strong, but she's got that divine feminine feel about her as well. So you can actually it's just interesting. You just kind of, you know how sometimes you just look at an animal and you go, I know you're a boy, or I know you're a girl, or sometimes with children I get their energy more than I get their gender, which is really interesting, because sometimes parents go, oh my God, my son is gay. But that's not it at all. I'm getting a beautiful divine feminine energy from that boy. He's going to grow up and have 15 girls, for daughters or something. It's not necessarily gay or that he's feminine. It just means that I've got a beautiful feminine energy from him. So it's the frequency, not so much the gender. And that is what the pendulum or the crystals are all about as well. Okay. Carrie Ann, hello. Impulse by the, I know, there's just something about it. Oh, Leanne says, That's my question. Should I buy a third dog? It's always my question. I was watching Cute Animals earlier today, and I'm pretty sure I tried to convince my husband that I need everything from a meerkat to an otter to a baby pig. There was a Seneca fox, I think, a little white one with these great big ears, a rabbit, a turtle. I need every animal that I look at. Glenside, Beverly French, thank you very much. Glenside, that is exactly it. She's on it. So Glenside, if you want to YouTube Z Ward, it is amazing. Thank you very, very much, Beverly. That was awesome. Thank you for helping me out with that. I used to live down the road from there. Holly wants one. Just get one. Oh, Alison Parker. Oh, Alison Parker got 2 pendulums. Oh, I'd love to see them. Take a photo and send them through to me. I'd love to have a look at them. That'd be really cool. Okay. Disconnecting. Okay, guys, I'm not doing readings tonight. I just wanted to jump on and have a look at pendulums and give somebody, because pendulums can get they can get quite expensive, okay, but they can also be quite economical as well. So it's about finding that one that resonates with you. Please don't be tricked into thinking that if you spend $100 on a pendulum, you're going to get, the BMW of pendulums. It may not work like that at all. I think my smoky quartz might have been about $19 or something, okay. Lapis lazuli I've had longer than freaking God's been alive, so don't even ask me how much that was, but I'm very Scottish sometimes, so it wouldn't have been very expensive. I honestly don't feel that any of these pendulums that I've shown you tonight would be more than like $25, honestly. So shop around. It's not necessarily a quality thing, okay? It's how you feel and the confidence that you have using it. Okay. Leanne's got 2 pendulums. I have a few pendulums, says Hunter. Quartz and garnet pendulum. Oh, garnet is very cool. It's a very old stone. I know about garnets because, well, I'm a witch, so of course we know about garnets. So yeah, Magdalena, that's really nice. That's really nice. Please feel free to send me through pictures of your pendulums or if you want a closer up photo of some of my pendulums or my husband's pendulums and my pendulum. Please let me know. If you need somebody to help you find a pendulum, I've got a crystal wholesaler that I can get pendulums through. I'm not sure if Luna Lotus has pendulums or not, but I highly recommend her crystals. I will always recommend her crystals because of the way she treats them, and the fact that I don't actually have to cleanse them when I get them from her, which is even better. So you're getting a quality product with Jess. So yeah. I have a pendulum, but it's not a crystal. That's okay now. We used wedding rings for a very, very long time. There's all sorts of things that you can use as a pendulum. You can even use a padlock, seriously, as long as it is suspended and you keep your hand. I actually hold my hand, so my elbow is on the it's not going to work for me, is it? So my elbow is on the table, okay, and then I hold my hand like that because that gives me total control over my wrist, and then that way when I start to use the pendulum, I know that I'm not accidentally swaying or I'm not moving in a manner that will encourage a particular kinetic energy with the pendulum. Okay, I don't want to give it any movement. I want to keep it as still as possible, so I know that when I get that yes answer, I can without doubt say that's a yes answer or that's a no answer. And that's idealistically what it's all about, isn't it? Not having that confusion and really getting that clarity. Excellent. Magdalena will send a crystal. Debbie Irwin, I've always used a gold wedding ring. Absolutely. You can use anything like that whatsoever. It's what people in the olden days, these are pendulums that I showed you tonight are fairly new to the market in the scheme of things, okay? So wedding bands were used for a very, very long time. Absolutely highly recommend them. Rightio. Beverly, you really made me want to find it. Beverly, do you live down in Adelaide? If you do, there's a shop over, help me, Thank you. Crystal Wave is called it, Semaphore. They've got some really cool pendulums, and that is where my smoky quartz came from. So if you live down there, go over and have a chat to Peter, I think. Peter still runs the store. Lovely grey-haired man. Don't tell him I said that he is a lovely. Well, you can tell him he's lovely, but maybe not the grey-haired part. But they've got a really lovely crystal store over there. They've got lots of things there. And my smoky quartz came from that particular store. Okay. Grange Road. Yeah. Excellent. Ta-da! So you'll know exactly where to go. So you've already been there. Cool. Good stuff. Then you know even better where to go. That's amazing. Okay. Have a green aventurine and a clear quartz pendulum. Brilliant. Cool. All right, the Crystal Wave shop is an excellent. It is, isn't it? I stumbled across it accidentally, and one day, and I was like, oh. And I got some sage there, and they had mugwort as well. Mugwort is a black sage. Okay, it's a step up from normal white sage, normal sage that we sage around the house, but I use mugwort in rituals. So I was looking for a good quality supplier, and I could not believe how good a quality it was, considering it was just plastic. It came in a packet. So but I think it's because of the way they treat the stuff there, and that's it. It just feels different. Okay, it's when they don't disrespect it or misuse it, or just don't have any love and care for it. I think that's when it starts to go a little bit pear-shaped and get a bit toxic. But I've always liked their products. So, yeah. Yeah, Natalie, we are talking pendulums. Love your pendulum. All right, guys, I better get off. I've been on for longer than always the case. So please sing out if you get stuck with your own pendulums, if you need help finding a pendulum or being put in the right direction, or you want one in particular, okay? I'm happy to go to my wholesaler and find that for you. I'll let you know what that wholesale price is, and I'm not worried about retail price. I just want you to have fun with your pendulum and learn how to use them properly. They can be very, very accurate. Where they fall over is how we're asking our questions, how we're forming those questions. And quite often when we're in that chaos moment, our brains are in chaos, our pendulums will be in chaos, okay? So wipe the slate clean, get a deep breath into you, go have a cup of tea, come back, try again. It's the best way, okay? And they're a lot of fun. They are a lot of fun. I said to my lapis lazuli once, have you now left me for my husband? She said yes. Whatever. But have you now left me for my husband? Have you now, so I created a time period, left me, created action, what are you doing for my husband? And she said yes. I didn't say, when are you going to leave me for my husband? When are you coming back to me? Do you want to be with anybody else aside from me? And who are these people? None of those questions would work because there's too many variables. There's too many yes and no variables or opportunities there. So it has to be very clear in exactly what you want, okay? Should I buy this yellow Commodore? Yes or no? That is exactly how you need to formulate your question. Stick out. If you've got a question and you're getting a bullshit response from your pendulum, we're asking it the wrong way, send it through to me and I'll reword it for you so you can get a really clear, definitive, correct answer from your pendulum. But absolutely they're accurate. It's just that we fuck it up so often and then we blame our pendulums because a lot of people just don't know how to use them properly. So yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much. This will be my last astroscopes. I will be doing it all from the Warrior Chronicles at 6 p.m. on a Thursday night with the Spiritual Events Directory. So do join me there. I'll obviously be doing a whole bunch of stuff on my own page as well. So if you're not already liking and getting notifications from my own page, please do that because that's about to really take off. And also I will be doing video logs, okay, a weekly vlog. It's a term that I'm trying to get my head around. I try to say blog and it just comes out wrong. See, they're laughing at me. But the video log is a whole series of personal development and growth stuff, and it is completely free, but you do need to be over on Insight by Johnita Francis the Warrior, which is my Facebook page, to be able to do that. Don't bother sending me friend requests to my personal page. I really do keep that very purely for friends and family only, because if you come to me for a reading, I will already know about your life on Facebook if we are friends, and that's just not subjective nor objective, and it's not fair on you. So I will always keep that professional distance. So please don't get cross with me if I don't accept your friend request on my personal page. I'm more than happy to love you and be a part of your community on my business page. And I hope that you can understand that. So thank you very much for your time. Have a wonderful weekend and week ahead, and I'll see you next Thursday night at 6 p.m. Bye for now.